Rite of Passage is back and it is better than ever. Starting February 16th this year, you'll get to enter to try and get your chance to make XGS. With just a $50 entry fee, you get direct invite to our round robin stage where it is best of threes for every game, making sure every single chance, every game, every round has the most meaning possible. The best teams in the round robin group stage will make it on to our single elimination playoffs, where they can fight for not only a chance for the lion's share of a $1,000 plus grand prize, but also a chance, a direct invite to the next season of XGS. Signups close February 13th, just 3 days before the event actually starts, so make sure you gather your teammates, friends, and sign up, because this is your chance to make a name in the scene. Are you ready? Find out here.
Goose, you're famous. That was you on the ads. What's going on, man?
I know, we're seeing double today, and there's two of us, and we've got 2 games today.
I mean, unfortunately, we can't cover both best of threes. You kind of have to allow the other casters to enjoy what we're also going to see today, but any day XGS is on is going to be a good day. But for those of you who don't know who we are, I'm Sino, that's Goose, and today we're going to be bringing to you playoffs, but more importantly, the semifinals.
Yeah, and I think we'll be able to take a look of how we got here. Yes, that timing is perfect. Obviously, one thing you'll notice is that both Ballsack Nation and SSG Academy have gotten first round byes. So their opponents, Team Sesh and Sen's Guns, both had to play in the quarterfinals, both winning that with ease, having a 2-0 versus Carnico and then a 2-0 versus Sen's Gun and Co. Both teams losing with a Co in their name. But the first game we'll be seeing today is SSG Academy. One of the, not necessarily a surprise factor to me, but to a lot of people who didn't really know this roster by hand, that didn't see it coming into this event. And honestly, this event entirely, especially the group stage, they have grown so much to get to this point.
I honestly find it hilarious that this is the matchup, and the way it plays out is honestly perfect, because Unity versus SSG was actually the second last game I did within the group stage, so I got to watch them on Fortress earlier this season, and it was a promising game, Goose. We went all the way to max regulation, where SSG took it by a hair, 7-5, due to Kaysen going insane. And when you look at the head-to-head, when you look at the comparison, when you put these two teams side by side, I mean, it looks relatively similar. Their EPS has a difference of 1, and their kills per round only a differentiation of 0.5. So I feel like we're going to get some top-level siege here today.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams, whenever they meet each other, they met each other once inside of the group stage, not the Swiss stage, the phase we just came out of. And it was actually SSG Academy to beat Unity. So, I mean, these are teams that play, in a sense, very similar. They have a lot of talented gunners. That's why they've gotten this far. And in my opinion, some of the best talent in all of Rainbow Six Siege in the Tier 3 and Tier 2 setting. But we'll get to take a look at the roster, see exactly who is going to be playing and who we'll see in the match today.
I feel like with no introduction needed, you have the SSG ACAD boys lighting up with the newest pickup, Penguin, starting off on the left-hand side of your screen. Kaysen, the mysterious man who has been locked in so far, but we're not going to get to see his face. And then on the rest of the roster, you'll have Scary, the young prodigy, Adept, and Retro to finish it all off here. This team, they haven't been finding too much success on the attacking side, as you can see on the bottom third of your screen, Goose, but I still feel like despite their struggles on the attack, they look very promising in terms of coming against some teams that are on the higher stage of Tier 3 and even low Tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that just has joined SSG Academy with under a month, so this is a development team. A majority of these players, I think Kaysen and Adept are the underagers. Scary might be also, but I think he's only 17. So these players can't even play in CL. You won't even see them in that Pro League qualification. So this is a roster that's going to take time. But as we move on to our other roster, perhaps we'll get to see. Yeah, it is. Okay. As we move on to our other roster, I can control things here. I got the magic wand. We'll see a team with a little bit more experience. You got Hat, obviously, with that Pro League experience. I mean, just a year ago, he was at SI inside of Boston. Hiru, Vic Bands, yet another hot console talent. BGL, in my opinion, the star player, the one who just heads everything, and then Reapers. And the number one thing you notice is while that defense win rate isn't as high, that attack up to a 50%, some of the best in the entire league so far.
I feel like this team, when you look at them on paper, they look like superstars. Obviously, you have Kiru, who used to play on Valor Esports, just got 5th in the NAL LCQ for SI 2026. You have BJO, who's on 5 Fears, Vic Bands, who was on Karn & Co., and then you have Hat, who's played on a good majority of Pro League teams like Cloud9, like Beast Coast, like Oxygen, and then to finish it off, you have Reapers, who's played for Wildcard Aces, and also Valor Esports. So, again, to reiterate what we've been saying so far, we are going to have a banger of a lineup here today, especially considering we get 3 maps instead of the traditional BO1 within the group stage. And your highlighted player for Unity is BJL. They have Hat on the team. I feel like you were kind of making this thought known. They have Hat on the team, and BJL still fragging out 18 and 8 on that entry, Goose. That is a crazy stat to look at.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of a situation where BGL plays a very dangerous role. He plays in that situation where he is the IGL, but still likes to take a lot of those engaging gunfights. You can see his 18 and 8 entry. Obviously, using a lot of information ops will give him that individual ability to find where those players are. He kind of plays a role that I like to describe as a float or sink. Either you have a ton of success on that entry, you're able to also lead your team, or you're consistently shut down. But BGL, in those opening engagements, has been able to rise above and beyond. And moving to SSG's highlight player, someone that we may not be able to see, but we've definitely heard and seen their ability inside of the game. It is Kason, the hot kid and everyone wants to know about. Obviously, the KD stands out, but one thing that stands out for me, and I don't like to do this about a player that's doing really good, but that entry, 6 and 8, is not the best. I know he can do better. And again, it goes back to the ability of his team learning as a whole. And I think as you know, they get more reps, they understand how to put Kason in more of those positions with a better setup. Then he's going to have more success. And this is a great opportunity to do that here today.
100%. And I feel like it also plays off of their ability to attack in general. And when you have a good majority of your team without tier 2 or tier 1 experience at that, it kind of shows how large there is a gap of really understanding the game, especially when it comes to the harder things like attacking on defender-sided maps. This team has struggled in that capability, but as we mentioned before, they have so much time to develop here in Tier 3 until they're able to move up to Tier 2 and beyond. A lot of these players are 17 and below, so we have a lot of time to see how they kind of merge as a team. But speaking on the venues that they're going to have to challenge themselves on here today, SSG pick into Clubhouse while Unity go on to Layer. So a little bit foundational for both teams, and they'll need Border to break that difference if we need all 3. And honestly, I've seen both these teams head to head on a good majority of these maps. I feel like we're going to get nothing short of straight action.
Yeah, and honestly, that Clubhouse pick is a little worrisome for me, because going into today, that is almost a permaban for Unity. Out of their almost 10 games, they have banned it a total of 8 times. So I don't know if that's necessarily Unity taking a risk on themselves and allowing SSG to potentially pick that up, or if it's something they don't really want to go to. But nonetheless, we'll be starting on Layer, a map that both teams somewhat favor. SSG historically, if I'm looking correctly, actually has not played Layer once throughout this entire event, and Unity has only played it once, winning it versus Sensgun 7-3. So this is a map for both teams that is fairly an unknown factor.
I am excited to see how SSG get to kick off, considering they're the team that's given defense first, and on Layer, and given SSG's history in terms of defending maps, I feel like this kind of gives them the advantage in terms of going for that 4-2 or 3-all split. But I feel like the main idea is to not allow Unity to break their momentum, I would like to say, because with the way that SSG really likes to play is kind of pick apart the aggression from Unity if they decide to go off the script and just start getting aggressive in different areas of the map, or play split, whether it's having a very heavy roamer instead of a soft one, especially on Layer. There's a lot of teamwork that is necessary to be able to defend correctly, and SSG it is very likely for them to get off on a bad start if they don't take Unity seriously in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, and I think SSG is a very dangerous thing. Not only on a map that statistically throughout this event so far is the second most defender-sided game, but these are both teams that really love to get aggressive in that early round. So far, not only in their previous matchup, but throughout the stats, in all of their matchups, it's been SSG that doesn't have the more gunfights, but currently is positive in those entry gunfights, with Unity being barely in that negative. I think they're about 3 or 4 kills behind, being above like 0.500. But again, I think it's kind of a problem that, you know, is SSG going to be able to run away with these entry kills, or is it going to be Unity that can recover from losing them?
Especially with Unity winning their most recent game in XGS against Sending Guns. Their first map was Layer, and they won that 7-3 starting on the attack. So I feel like SSG ACAD have a lot of work cut out for them, and it is realistic that we will need all 3 maps because one team just gets home court advantage firsthand, but still, we're getting ahead of ourselves. SSG Academy have a lot to do, and I feel like it's round by round against a team like Unity. You can't get too far ahead of yourselves because you'll catch yourself kind of bottlenecking the rest of your team when you're thinking too far into the future instead of worrying about what's going on in the moment and how you can address a certain pacing. But still, lots to be played, and I feel like the first round is going to be the pace shifter, the pace setter for the remainder of the series.
One thing that I really like from SSG Academy, already starting out in the very first round, is bringing a lot of utility that denies space. Obviously, Retro on the Clash stands out, but Kason bringing the Denari, you can even add that Penguin and Adept on the Smoke and the Zombie are able to either, one, cut off lines of sight and allow for defenders to hold it more safely, or just simply throw a Smoke Babe and you're able to deny that position for an amount of time. And for a bomb site that does heavily require attacking teams to try and get that bomb down, especially over inside of Mask Room, and with the utility that Unity's bringing, adding Reapers on that Ying, this could be a difficulty that I'm not sure Unity has the tools to deal with.
Looking at the large divide of players, you do have Scary playing a little bit isolated in display, but Kason on that Denari operator, easily able to kind of fall back and help out his teammate if any pressure arises from bottom main, and he's forced to go back to site. And I love the presence of Denari here. We've been seeing him and Thorn with an increase in picks, considering how heavy they really are utilized. Now with the Thorn getting that buff and Denari just being so heavily utilized for different site setups.
This is a position that BGL has really loved to slot himself into, not only this stage, but all year so far in Tier 2 and Tier 3, is this solo lurk position, especially with Sledge with that secondary pistol, or the automatic pistol rather. He's able to be kind of isolated, but also just initiate a lot of positions. So if this is something that SSG is not careful of, keep up those rocket stairs, Penguin probably the first player that's going to come into contact with him, but it just takes time getting info for Unity to actually work off of this position.
BGL, you can see his location on the bottom hand side of your screen. He's working throughout the first floor, and we can only see a secondary, and if I'm to come to an assumption, he's running that primary as a shotgun. And yeah, there you go, it's confirmed, which means he's looking to take closer gunfights, whether it's hunting out somebody from below, considering almost this whole site is soft on its flooring, or he can isolate that gunfight closer onto the main stairs, considering this site, in terms of breaking apart these staple players in positions, all comes to close-range gunfights, and BJL opens it up onto Adept to confirm that Prophecy, taking care of that smoke as well.
Yeah, it's a really good kill by the Lord player, immediately getting a lot of use out of that, and that's all the Smoke Babe's gone on top of it. Scary completely alone in himself. Hero with another one on to Penguin. It's Reapers. It's all falling apart in the very first round.
2v5, 1v5. Make it no one is left alive. A flawless round in a convincing fashion. SSG Academy just got picked apart, and they didn't even need the full clock to do it.
Yeah, fantastic round for Unity. I continue to really tout them and quote them as being a very individual capable team. And you can have BGL, who, again, you know, is IGLing on the front lines. You can have Reapers going huge. And really big help there to them that SSG Academy was playing very spread out and isolated, giving them a lot of individual 1v1s that Unity absolutely love. That is something that if you give them an isolated gunfight, Unity not only will they take it, they'll try to take it as fast as possible. And I think that's something that SSG wasn't necessarily ready and prepared for, and something they have to be more cautious of. Also, props to Unity for using their displacement utility, like the Flores, like the Ying, to clear the space to get those players in those positions to get the kills. Overall, a fantastic round and through.
Mira still left on the board. Looks like SSG Academy are kind of given a olive branch because Unity wanted to take care of the wall denies first and foremost, and won't be able to ban a third defender until that third round line, which means until then they can utilize this defender for a full cycle, or what would have been a full cycle if you counted that last round. You can go to the basement and use her, you can go upstairs and use her, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do, because they're on the mid floor and having a heavy vert presence. And this is that round that kind of is going to set the tone, considering Unity come out the gate with a bang, and SSG Academy were kind of looking dumbfounded that last round.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very similar round, not only because they're holding on that top floor, but Unity bringing a lot of utility. Well, let's throw utility out of the window for a second. BGL getting so much map control very early on. This is why he's had so much success. With that wall being open, the head holes being created, this is a fantastic opportunity for the Dokkaebi. He just has to time it correctly, potentially try and find a pick.
Ace supporting him, but BGL is the one in pillar. Opens it up by taking care of Retro nice and easy, and takes care of that C4 in his pocket as well. And nobody on SSG Acad left to respond, as now the control of bottom lane is going in towards the favor of Unity.
No immediate repick from SSG Academy, but they have the control on the top floor. If Unity tries to go for that plant, even with the sends of Kiru, they have plenty of vertical to try and deny it. They also have a C4, 3 impact grenades, and this is something that Unity knows.
You had that live ping on him, Reapers, but you kind of jumped the gun. Penguin takes care of Reapers, but in the meantime, the plant's going down and no one's the wiser. Kaysen a little bit late to the call. Nobody's going to react to it, and now Kiro just has to sit in a corner and wait. That C4, oh my god, come on, Scary. I mean, the score line's evened out. Kaysen will go down in the meantime, but still, the case is down and everybody's anchored out. They know they just have to sit in a corner and wait for these defenders to slowly trickle in and walk into their crosshairs, because this timer is active. The defenders are the ones that are now the attackers and have absolutely nothing to do except for really try to get aggressive and win their ones, but they can't even do that. Kaysen finally gets a kill to stop the bleeding, but he doesn't have enough health to make anything work from him. This round is essentially over, and BJL confirms that.
BGL not only being the initiator, but also the round ender with that kill. And again, I'm starting to get a little bit worried about SSG Academy here on Lair. They look like absolute cones around this map so far. Unity reading their positioning down to a T. Talked about how they needed that vertical cleared, but they didn't. They just one side of that cubby hole. It was way too late. And then also being paired with Retro missing the C4 twice, even after the player had already left. They got the retrade. This wasn't necessarily a horrible round from SSG Academy. It was rather a triumph from BLG and Co. I say BLG and Co. because he's 5-0 right now. Everybody else, a combined, guess what, 5 kills. And this has been somewhat of a problem, not a major one, to be fair, for Unity, is that there sometimes do find to be troubles of backing up BGL in that kill and entry department. But if you're hitting the site that quick, it's not going to be a problem you have to worry about.
Looks like he's fulfilling that player to watch stat line, and I'm sorry, I can't really get over what was happening with Scary in that C4 last round.
Yeah.
Looks like his hand and his mouse weren't really agreeing on the angle to throw it through the floorboards, and he really paid the price because that fraction of a second really didn't matter, and his team paid the price for it. But giving up that first and second floor, they'll head down to the basement, again with that mirror presence as well, to kind of deny any heavy aggression onto either the filtration breach or that single wall downstairs. But still, they have the work cut out for them, considering BGL looks like he's entering that flow state.
Yeah, this is something that you can't really just simply stop. There's not a certain operator or a certain, play to prevent BGL as a player. If he spots a gap, he's going to find it. And you can't fill every single gap in your defense. What SSG Academy is going to be doing is playing very reserved, playing close together. Kason and Retro laying right up next to each other. So if one of them gets into a gunfight, the other will be there relatively shortly. The rest of the defense, all on the bomb, so just allowing for this attack of Unity to waste their own time.
5 all on either side as we approach the low with that 1 minute wasted mark. Unity just kind of doing the traditional approach to this site, which is work that verticality, get those players into those correct positions, and then when that time hits, when you get below this 1 minute mark, you hit that gap and you go for the execute. Right now, they're just getting things lined up.
Reload.
Another missed C4, and I don't know if there's an opportunity that would have been able to find anything for SSG Academy, but Unity just carving up these floors, trying to find an easy pick. One of those C4s eventually does go off. It's not going to net a kill or anything of it. It looks like they might just hit the site, but Kason, still on the first floor, could do wonders.
Clock is slowly ticking down, and Retro has finally placed that shield down from what I assume used to be that Mira on that left-hand side wall, so he's going to have to act like the secondary Mira to really prevent anybody from walking down these filtration stairs, and doing a great job as that Capital Flame Bolt does miss as well. The second one is going to connect, but Hero's in the middle of the site in the meantime. Vic Bands loses a good majority of his health, which means he can't watch that cross to his best of his ability, but that means Hero, for the second time in a row, can get that plant down. Yet again, the defenders have turned into the attackers, and they need to get aggressive. Kaysen finally springs into action, but quickly traded out by Vic. In the middle of the site is Penguin, but he's not aware of Hero that's still in the corner. You'd have thought he moved off, but no, he's just going to stay parked out, but a beautiful shot by Retro to keep his team's hopes intact. And guess what? He still has his shield, and Capitao doesn't have any flame bolts, but with that direct verticality, there's nothing Retro can do. An easy 3-all. And SSG Cat are left just asking questions on what the hell is going on.
Yeah, 3 rounds completely untraded, untouched by SSG Academy. Unity full control in the driver's seat so far on this attack. And keep in mind, I mean, this is statistically throughout the entire event so far the second most defender-sided map. Obviously, going into this, Unity had something cooking. SSG looks like they'll be taking their tactical timeout, and honestly, I don't blame them. You need, at this point, 3 rounds. That's 3 rounds in a row if you want to go into your attacking half, which, keep in mind, we both spoke about in the pre-show that it is definitely not their favored side. They've been struggling on it, and that is an understatement. So taking this tactical timeout to try and stop the bleeding.
Yeah, I was literally about to say, they kind of beat me to it. Good on Ariel for calling that out, because they just need it. Whether it's an approach to how you play the second half of your defensive campaign, or how you really approach breaking the momentum that this team is building up against you, everything needs to be put on, all hands on deck. Whatever tactic that you can employ, it needs to be put into action, because SSG Academy are getting a tour on how to get completely destroyed within the first half of a game. And considering this is a defender-sided map and you guys are just getting ran through, something needs to change, considering you went through a full cycle with no success. Or, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little success.
Yeah.
And another thing that has been propping up Unity to have really fantastic rounds, something that I spoke about earlier, it's that entry department. Throughout the first 3 rounds that Unity have won, all 3 of them, they have earned that entry opening kill. And again, that's something that we talked about, the SSG Academy, that's something they're stronger in consistently. So far, that's something that Unity has been beating up. Obviously, there is a lot to worry about. That's something, though, that we need to keep our eye. SSG needs to try and get the better at if they want to start to claw back.
Ooh, this is going to be very, very, very decision-making in terms of the remainder of the game. And we were talking about how SSG Academy is better on the defense, but I feel like we've actually not really seen anything, Goose. I think it's been nothing short of a one-sided affair. And Unity have really been showing us why this is the map that they picked into. They're performing beautifully in terms of getting the executes down, and that's now 2 rounds out of 3 where they've gotten that plant down. And before that, they flawless. So a team that we can't really ask any more of at this point in the game. And Let's hope that timeout from Ariel really gave his players the insight that they needed to find at least one round of success before they go on to that attacker side.
Yeah, BGL yet again at bottom Rockets on yet another look. His 4th round in a row where he started it out trying to find the kill in a little bit of a sneaky position. Again, I think the majority of his focus is going to be on getting this utility from above, but Reaper just able to find Penguin. That's their Rooney off the board in the 4th opening pick. That is a really big kill for Unity, and SSG Academy, instead of playing aggressive, they're just going to fall back and give respect to this attack.
I was talking to Happy about this earlier, and I was talking about how DMRs have actually become a win con for some defenders in a sense, in terms of taking those ACOGs and getting a little bit more aggressive, and it looks like Penguin was trying to get aggressive there, and it just didn't work out for him. Now, losing your life, you no longer have that man advantage. And to make matters worse, Scary, the player who's been first picked either once or twice every single round, is going to meet his maker yet again. And it's the Ward. And say goodbye to the Echo. And Goose, like dominoes, they continue to fall one by one. Not a shred of success is being found for this SSG ACAT team, leaving just Kaysen on top main by his lonesome. The Flawless narrowly avoided. He'll pick up that second, but still, a tall order left in front of him. He's being live pinged while people are holding the crosses at all various sorts of range. Nothing that he can do, and that's a 4-all for Unity.
I mean, again, it's just this ability for Unity to move around the positioning from SSG Academy. There's almost every time where, obviously, I think those first 2 engagements was just a little bit of over-aggression from SSG Academy, and then Unity taking advantage of that. But, I mean, the claw back up the stairs. You saw that Ella originally was playing at those rocket stairs, but somehow, some way, you saw BGL was able to creep up and get a kill from there. I mean, there's a lot of times where that probably shouldn't have happened, but again, every time that SSG is holding and looking at a main point of attention and they take their eyes away, almost instantly is BGL right there when they don't want him to. I mean, he's 7-2 so far. Even though he got traded, he had all the impact. He had that position on the map over by Rocket shut down. And the main problem with that is that SSG Academy, they have no idea where he is in the early half of the map, so they don't know where he's going to strike.
Yeah, I mean, 9 kills across the board for this whole team is starting to get a little bit more concerning across 4 rounds. BJL has really been showing us what it means to lurk, what it means to enter the building, and show us why his stats are so packed. I mean, even if he didn't do an insane amount last round, he got that first pick and then got traded out very soon after, but still, he opened up main side, which allowed the rest of Unity to get set for that execute onto that masked wall. Still, SSG Academy now without a timeout have no way to kind of stop Unity from building even more momentum against this team and taking this to a 7-0.
Yeah, it does look like, again, bringing the right utility. Instead of just Ascends this time, BGL's, he's going to double that up and bring the Ying. With all this utility, it allows for Unity, essentially, if they can't clear that top floor, they have plenty of stuff, even with smokes in the pocket of BGL. You also have flashes to kind of carve a path to get that bomb down. And you can see that this is something that they're focused on. Reapers with another opening of 5th now for Unity. Penguin shut down all of his utility. All of his smoke babes are now gone. Look at how much partial control that Unity is taking.
Yeah, man, I don't even know what to say at this point. It's always the operator that gets first pick that usually has a critical piece of utility in their hand. And first it was the Ward, and now it's that smoke with the Toxic Babes, and now it's the Tabaro with those Zodos, with that C4. 90 seconds left on the clock. Yet again, Kiru's putting the case down. Goose, you have to ask yourself, how does he keep getting in unscathed? Scary gets taken off, and yet again it's Kaysen left in a 1vx. Post-plant timer, and it feels like SSG Academy are just getting an insight on how to attack Layer as a defender, as Kaysen is fighting to keep his team within that server, and he might make it happen. What a shot! On that case, looking for that counter. Reapers is forced to get a little bit aggressive, and he gets wall-banged! There is no way that is the way that SSG Academy open it up! Are you serious, Kaysen?
What better than the Wonder Kid, a 1v4?
What?
They're just clawing their way back. SSG Academy, they get the one round, but more importantly, they set themselves up for a second. Going down 5-1, God forbid a 6-0, is very scary. And if it takes a couple of hero plays just like their main team did at SI today to get them to another map, that's all they need. That is all they need. This is what I'm talking about. Kaysen is a player that mechanically, in my opinion, I think his game IQ, his positional IQ is what sets him apart from other gunners. Is fantastic. It's just his team not setting him up. And obviously his team did no part in setting that 1v4 up. That was all just him and his gun on his hip. But again, if they can continue to put Kaysen in winning positions, especially once they transfer over to the attack, I mean, there is so much untapped potential. But they got one more round. They need one more round before they can go on to their attack if they want any chance of potentially taking the very first.
I don't know if any of what I said during that clutch was even understandable because of how loud I was yelling. There is just no way in hell that Kaysen should be winning that round, Goose. They have verticality, they have outside pressure, you even have a man outside the main wall, and somehow, he clutches it. I actually don't think there's been a round where we've thought could be more unwinnable that's been converted like that, and what a way to get SSG on that board, and they actually might be able to get a 4-2 split here if they use that momentum that Kaysen's given them into the 6th round to even out the boards.
Yeah, I mean, it is scary hours if you can continue to put him here, and I really love this 3-man lurk, actually extension rather, excuse me. SSG Academy and Unity, they're just going to be playing right on the site. They've read into this. They understand that there's only 2 players on the site. They want to try to hit it fast. The problem, though, you have a couple of these SSG roamers rotate back down the stairs. That's pressure that Unity is going to have to work about, especially now that those site anchors are very well aware. Scared with the opening pick onto Kiru. That is absolutely huge. That was close by also.
Finally, first pick is in the favor of SSG Academy, and they've taken care of that man who loves planting all the time. But not before that joy is short-lived by Reapers finding that refrag. I don't know, Penguin sleeping at the wheel as BGL takes care of him. Now you've lost your Solus and your Goyo. At least you have that passive utility to keep those Vulcans on the ground. But losing that util from Solus, that IO scanner, this round's going to be a little bit harder.
Yeah, BGO trying to hunt for another SSG Academy player, but he's not going to find it. Kaysen all the way over inside of Armory. Be looking to hold this position for just a little bit longer. Kind of feeling BGL's presence, feeling his aura that he's around, that he eventually is going to try and retake this position. With the hatch that he's holding, he's just simply going to drop down, back up his teammates on the site. A minute on the clock and a 3v4 for SSG Academy to try to work with.
Below a minute left as this site is starting to be opened up here. The attacker's starting to knock on the door of these defenders by approaching through Missile Hall and through Bathroom. That frag pushes Adept perfectly into the crosshairs of Hat. Now BJL onto Kaysen, the shotgun to deliver that final blow. It looks like that clutch was just short-lived as it's a round in response to take us to 5-1 and the switch.
Yeah, now we get to switch on to SSG Academy on their attack. I mean, it is very scary hours, but also as Unity's map pick, I didn't expect a 5-1 attacking half, again, the least favored side, but you did want above an average. So a 3-3 would have been fine, but Unity, they needed more than that. But at the same time, this isn't just simply a layer problem. This is just SSG Academy being read down to the book, and it's very understandable why they haven't played this map this far, and it makes Clubhouse look not that scary. Very similar bans instead of the double hard breach ban, or there wasn't one last round, but they're going to be taking the Grim. One thing that I noticed, taking the Warden off the board and immediately hopping onto the Blitz Glass Ying. This is something that not only SSG will use, but they will also abuse.
Get that cheese in, man. I mean, they have to resort to it. It's 1-5. You need to resort to it. And honestly, Goose, if they lose this 3-7 or maybe even 2-7, it's better than 1-7. Because you need to break this momentum. You really do. Even if SSG took away that round streak, there is still a snowball forming against them. even if they're going into their own map after this, home turf advantage can get a little bit shaky and kind of go into uncharted territories, considering you guys are getting absolutely swept right now. One clutch is what's kept you in this game, but when you look at that leaderboard, when you look at those kills on the bottom side of your screen, or the bottom third, there's one man that is positive, and everybody else is either 1 in 6 or 2 in 6.
I'm gonna have a little bit of a personal difference. This is nothing towards you. I mean, I'll even hear some tier 1 casters say it in the interview with Intero. I believe M80 said it, but I don't necessarily think using a very useful meta utility for attacking teams is cheesing it. I mean, it wasn't cheesing it when you were using shields. To an extent, it was. LMGs all the way back in 2020, the 30-second meta. None of that was cheesing. This is just kind of a sense of teams playing into the meta, using what is good. Sure, you could say that, oh, you're just cheesing it. You're just trying to take the easy way out. But, I mean, if it works and it's not broken, then why try and fix it?
You know, I could agree with you to a certain extent, except for the LMGs. That was cheesing it, dude. Bolo on a 1.5 on Fink LMG just walking in. That's cheesing it.
I mean, that got Sweater a top 3 appearance at SI.
Yeah,
so,
fair enough.
like,
Fair enough. They were... I would choose it too if it gets me top 3 at SI. But we're getting a little far from the main point, which is 5-1. SSG ACAT are currently looking to use the meta in their favor, as you mentioned before. And it looks like Kiru is not really getting aggressive, but he is waiting to where he thinks the pressure will come from, so he can just start dumping the toxic babes when he feels the pressure mounting. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Area, BGL, they trade for one another. And it looks like this is SSG Academy trying to hit this top 4, but with that kill, it's going to stunt them. It's going to slow them down. Pat thinks he has an eye on a player, and he does. Scary. He trades with another defender yet again. He's able to find success. Kason making his way through inside a server.
Looks like he's finally opened up that display hold, but Hat shuts out that player that was helping him out, which just leaves Kason by his lonesome in display. But Hat! Oh my god! You can't just keep doing it! Adept runs through the fire, but only to meet his death quicker as Unity take match points without so much as a scare on the board.
Yeah, SSG Academy right out of the gate. Utility aside, trying to hit that gas pedal. Trying to go as fast as possible, but Unity is going to heat check them just for that very first round, completely stopping. They were ready. And again, it's just SSG Academy. When they use this aggression, when they use this utility, they don't use it together. They play apart. They play very individual. And to be fair, on a very big map like Lair where you have to cover a lot of ground, that makes sense. But if it's kind of thing where it's almost a formula that Unity understands of just continuously saying, we'll get an individual kill. This kill onto Hat. Every single gunfight Hat had was a 1v1. There was not another SSG Academy around him aside from the player right in front of his eyes. And that's a problem. You can't punish him. You can't trade any of the players that Hat took down. There was never a threat for Hat in any of those engagements. On top of him just getting the better swings, having the better positioning. So it's kind of a problem where I do think this is at some point a issue on Lair. And this is why SSG Academy has been banning it consistently, hasn't been going to it. And, you know, I guess it's a better time to find out now than later.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Unity have one man that has a 4 KD within the server, Goose. This is unreal.
Yeah.
This is unreal. I mean, I expected this to go towards Unity, but I didn't expect it to go in such a convincing fashion. Regardless of what SSG ACAT are really trying, they are still just getting swept up. Unless Kason has another 1v4 clutch, I feel like this is the end of this current map. But still, anything can happen in any round that they get is just breaking that momentum to set them up for better success on Clubhouse. And a beautiful first.
Opening onto BGL, though. That's a really nice one. Adepts have a really tough game so far. 3-7 for him. Hat, though, he's continuing to pick up the pace, but that's exactly what I wanted. He immediately gets traded after taking down Scary. So through those engagements, a minute off the board, SSG Academy, they're able to take away with a 4v3, and still, the blitz and the ying up with Kason and Retro, so a lot of utility they can use to try and hit this site.
3 kills within that first minute does beauty and works wonders in terms of forcing Unity to use more utility faster so they have less to use during the execute. to play more into SSG Academy's plan, which is to start to utility dump towards their execute time. But as they approach that 90-second mark, things start to slow down as it looks like the call is going to be switched out to funneling in through at shooting range to get those hatches open. We'll go back down.
He's still out. This on completely alone, trying to push this player inside of missile.
He's gonna send it?
Yeah, I think he's just
Oh my god, he's gonna walk in?
Do they know that Reapers is
man.
here? No, he
Oh,
doesn't! And he finds two
Oh,
kills,
what?
finds a triple with it!
Oh my god!
It's a 4K for Reapers! He sends SSG packing the clubhouse, and that's a Unity 7-1 win!
What? No, you're actually. Ow, god damn it. I just stubbed my toe. You're trolling. You're trolling. You're trolling. No, you're actually trolling.
Wow.
I'm speechless.
I really think there's no better way to sum up that map. And also, it kind of leapfrogs into my other point that SSG Academy continuously, and not only on attack, they just had an information problem of not knowing where Unity was pushing from, and then on turn of things, not knowing where they were holding from. And I mean, just missing a player like that and letting him get a 4K, I mean, it's just kind of those things where it's not necessarily that they're lazy, but they're not going that extra step. They're not going that extra length to make sure that every single corner, every single dark little spot around the map is clear. And that's something that Unity understands and will punish you for.
I mean, that's the night and day difference. I mean, not going the extra mile can pass for the lower teams within tier 3 and sometimes maybe even tier 4. But when you start to get against teams like Unity with all of this tier 2 and tier 1 experience, it becomes a problem. But we'll bring you our final thoughts on this map and the next up, which will be Clubhouse after this short break.
Rite of Passage is back and it is better than ever. Starting February 16th this year, you'll get to enter to try and get your chance to make XGS. With just a $50 entry fee, you get direct invite to our round robin stage where it is best of threes for every game, making sure every single chance, every game, every round has the most meaning possible. The best teams in the round robin group stage will make it on to our single elimination playoffs, where they can fight for not only a chance for the lion's share of a $1,000 plus grand prize, but also a chance, a direct invite to the next season of XGS. Signups close February 13th, just 3 days before the event actually starts, so make sure you gather your teammates, friends, and sign up, because this is your chance to make a name in the scene. Are you ready? Find out here.
Wish I had something positive to say about that last game, except Unity are looking very, very promising. That last zombie round, though, I actually
It's tough.
It is. It really is. But I mean, we were talking about it in the break. It could just be a bigger failure to set them up for greater success. I mean, a little bit of an interesting first map, Goose, but now SSGA have their home turf, and could that really start to shift the tides?
Yeah, and if you're an SSG fan, do not worry. The chances of your team being eliminated from playoffs twice in a day probably won't happen just yet, because this is a map that heavily, in the past entire event so far, does favor this attacking team. They have played it 4 times, a 3-1 record versus Unity's. Not only have they not played it this entire event, they have it permabanned. So this is a map they purposely have not taken themselves to, and rather not allowed teams to take them to.
I also feel like Clubhouse is a very staple map in terms of competitive, and there is a certain distinction on how to play it and what to really do, and it's going to be interesting because either SSG Academy show us what they have in store for us, or Unity are going to use their momentum to power through a map they're not very comfortable with if none of these SSGA players can wake up. And I'm really hoping it's not the latter, because I want to see that third map. I want to see Border. But right now, SSGA need to show us that they have something more promising than just 1 round out of 8.
Yeah, I think going into this, surprisingly enough, throughout this event so far, Clubhouse has actually been the most attacker-sided map having a 58% win rate versus a 41. So, I mean, that's honestly pretty big. That's a pretty big step percentage-wise. And I think it just goes to show that we have, overall, a lot of aggressive teams. Some of the best teams, like SSG Academy Unity, Sens Guns & Co., even Sesh has up their own individual aggressive. So, I mean, a lot of our top 4 teams are probably some of the most aggressive teams we have on all of Tier 3 and Tier 2, especially because everything's kind of, you know, mismanaged, falling apart, rearranging itself. Orgless isn't even a team anymore. So, again, it's kind of a thing where we're kind of in a setting period, trying to find out what teams and players play good with each other. And so far, SSG Academy Unity, they have definitely been the diamond in the lot.
Yeah, but for SSG Academy, I feel like you kind of hit the nail on the head, but they have had a shockingly low attacker win percentage in XGS. I don't know if it's translated over to other leagues that haven't had the ability to watch them in other leagues, but I haven't really been able to translate their attacks on paper, but I do hope it switches a little bit for a map to kind of range on, but not off to a convincing start. As Scary is allowed to lose a good majority of his health here, but luckily he's able to survive and still has those boogies to use the remainder of the round.
Yeah, and if BGL continues to get away with that throughout this entire map of Clubhouse, then it's going to be a tough time for SSG Academy. Him and Reapers having a fantastic game last, leading Unity at the end of map 1 to having a 6-2 entry rate. You don't know what that means. SSG Academy only getting the first kill 2 times, winning neither of those rounds. So again, I think not only does this need to be a switch up for SSG Academy, as a whole and as a team, they really need to pick it up here.
90 seconds and nothing really happened since Scary almost lost that opening gunfight against BJL, and for now they kind of just slow things down. I mean, it's kind of textbook that the bunker strat for this basement site is prioritized when you see that shield operator, when you see that heavy presence of those verticality ops, but the absence of Kaid is going to be a problem considering these hatches are going to be opened up very fast.
I think they're just getting a little bit more info, trying to see exactly where they want to try and force his plan down. More than likely, he's going to be going in that armory bomb site. You actually have Retro who... Oh no, did he lag out? That would be so unlucky. I think he did.
Oh jeez.
So you're not going to have your Blackbeard 40 seconds left. You still don't even have Church Wall opened up. Scary so low on health. This is going to be a really difficult round for SSG to claw out.
Losing that one player, first pick in a very unconvincing manner. 30 seconds left, and the Black Mirror has fallen for the defenders, but the spear entry is gone for the attackers, and 2 of them are very unhealthy. There's not a lot that they can work with, but they need to be able to continue to push towards the site whether they like it or not. He opens it up for his team, but he's going to go down to that destructible ingredient and will be finished off by Kiru. Time continues to tick down. He can finally respond on to Reapers, but within that site, that shotgun, don't mistake it against any unhealthy player, is going to do a heap of damage. Scary trying to give his team that hope, but that kid is left loose in the middle of the site, and Unity take that first round convincingly.
I mean, yeah, that is just so unlucky, and especially with how SSG played that. If you had your Blackbeard still in the lobby, that could have been a very different round. But nonetheless, you still lose it. And, you know, all fairness, they are starting on the attack. That is the strongest bomb site, so it's not a sense where, oh, SSG really missed out. There's still a really good chance that Unity won that. They didn't play that clock really well. I mean, I think it was about 2 minutes, but I'm going to stop yapping. I'm going to send us to a break. We have a rehost. We'll try to get all the players in the lobby. We'll hopefully see you in just a couple minutes.
Oh, yeah. So we come back from a swift break. Bit of a troll there.
Attackers have located a bomb.
If you guys missed what happened in that first round, Retro, quote unquote, somebody said in the chat, his Starlink got nuked. And he disconnected promptly on that spear entry or that shield operator. And then from there, they got picked off one by one, but they still managed to get within the site. We now move up to gym and bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, that first round, again, technically SSG got the opening pick, but they lost the first player, so that, in theory, affects them more. But at the same time, I think it's kind of those rounds. You just chalk it up BC. Again, historically, this has been a fantastic map for SSG Academy, a 3-1 record. In this tournament alone, Unity permabanning it. But we just saw the last map with Lair only playing it once, and they were more than prepared. So the question is, does Unity have something cooked up? I think this defense will tell some. Most of it will come on the attacking side. But so far, SSG Academy, their ideas have been right. Their execution has been what has been failing.
Yeah, now that they're finally back up to full power, hopefully Retro can make do on that Blackbeard roll. Just 40 seconds in, and they're just getting the essentials done, opening up that garage or that CC wall, and then having everybody funnel up from garage. Just get those angles clear, drive the players out of cash or top red or wherever they may be. But still, this time ticking down. We know SSG's time management hasn't been the greatest as we've seen on Lair.
Yeah, SSG just being very cautious here, trying to take their time to clear this extension inside of the cache. Not necessarily heavy, it's Reapers and I believe Vic Bands actually holding this extension. And to be fair, they're giving SSG Academy a difficult time here. The nade goes out, pushing out from there, but it's BGL with the opening. Reapers doubles it up, but Scary, he's able to find one.
What?
He goes blow for blow, and through the smoke, literally, it is Retro. In a 1v4 against Unity, what can he do with just a minute and 24 on the clock? Not a whole lot. Vic Bands is going to finish it off, and it's Unity up 2-0.
A flurry of kills and not a single one of them in the favor of SSG. I mean, they get a kill, but I mean, that's it. Unity just sweep them up easily. And this is not looking too good for pacing, for momentum. They are starting to drag behind. They really need to pull a magic trick to get themselves back into this game. Whether you're aiming for a 4-2 or a 3-all split, it's just becoming a problem when you can't keep up with the team who's playing on the away turf.
It is a difficult sight to see. But again, in the 3-site rotation, Church Arsenal, Master Bedroom Gym, those are the 2 bomb sites that the defense should win. This third one, which will be servers and cache, usually is the more favored bomb site for SSG Academy. So they have that to work off of, but the exact same thing I said on Lair isn't necessarily a map problem that is causing SSG to make these mistakes. It's just them not having a good idea on what to do against Unity. And on the turn side of things, Unity having a fantastic idea on how to break down the positioning of SSG Academy. But they look on the third bomb site, their third round, to try and do better.
CC site always piques my interest because there's so many different things that happen, and if you lose at a zombie first, it's a little bit concerning. But I do like to see how different teams approach to get rid of Garage, whether it's using the Montier, using a Blackbeard. I saw some new tech in SI where you can use Blackbeard to aim in outside Garage door, and the shield going down protects his feet while he's able to openly shoot out the Kiba barrier. So love to see the creative direction. It's like the mirror trick that comes in first hand paired up with the Zodo. Gets rid of one can opener, but not that bottom half, and eventually it will be opened up.
Yeah, SSG Academy working around these walls and map relatively quickly. They already have the bottom of Garage open. They've already started to work that CC mirror window on the wall itself. It's a lot for them to work on there, but they have to also set their sights away from the bomb site. Hat roaming inside of Bar. This is going to be a problem. While he is isolated, you don't want to take a fight with him, especially if you don't have information that he's moved. Isn't necessarily going to come into contact with anybody as late. Penguin opening on Reapers. That's a really big kill. That's the Raptors player completely removed.
Where did he just... I mean, yeah, those 2 flame bolts just are so hard to maneuver around, especially with the attackers waiting for you to make that mistake and peek up. With this man lurking below, might be able to find one kill. He'll do that and just get out of dodge. He's gotten the job done. The man watching the cross is now gone. The smokes cannot be fully utilized anymore. Still, there's 3 players that you need to take care of, and that man advantage is just by 1.
Yeah, they don't even have the wall open. Luckily enough, though, Adept does have a can opener in his pocket. So hopefully, he should be able to open this wall. He's going to get rid of that bulletproof, but he's just going to hit the smoke, and it looks like they're trying to get Retro to get the plant down.
He's in the middle of the zone, which means he can't move as fast. Hit by the C4, by a miracle is able to cling on to life, but can't say the same for Case, and he'll go down. As now it's just Retro fighting for his life, and Adept can't do much, but now he can. He'll hit that large shot through the wall, and now the plant looks to go down. Kiru forced to isolate for the gunfight. What a shot on the fadeaway, gets the second! Kiru giving them that 3rd round in a row. What a shot!
I mean, there is nothing going wrong for Unity today. I mean, I think it's 6 rounds in a row now, completely unanswered, going from the second half of Lair now here on to just halfway through the first of Clubhouse. Oh, it is a difficult sight to see. And in all honesty, it's not a sense where Unity is just completely wiping the slate, aside from round 2 of SSG. They have fighting chances. It was, I believe, a 1v2 initially, or 1v3 in the first round. There it was a 2v2. These are rounds that are very winnable for SSG. It's just Unity and their gunners. Players like Kiru, EGL, were able to shut these rounds down. You can't say the same for SSG Academy. Yeah, a 2-4 split, even with how this tournament has gone so far, historically is the bare minimum for a lot of attacking teams. They could get 3 rounds in a row. While I don't think that's likely, something needs to change within this young Academy team if they want any chance to get back in this series. Nonetheless, just Clubhouse.
Kaysen not too hot. All eyes on Kaysen and Adept, I'd say, for getting the majority of the kills, but they really haven't been able to see too much action without getting shut out very fast. I mean, we see them fighting out from 2v4s and 2v5s, and I mean, it's a great effort when you tie it up to that 2v2 or just bring it down to a one-man 2v3, but the issue is getting that final nail in the coffin or delivering that final blow, which then we start to see them stall out and really start to hesitate. And that goes a long way in terms of allowing momentum to be built up against you as they're looking down a very convincing 3-0 lead.
Reloading! Cover me!
The thing I spoke about is putting Kaysen in opportunities, whether it be a drone or a shield in front of him, to get those entry kills. I mean, if you can do that for any SSG player, I think they would be walking away home happy as a kid with a new lollipop. But again, I mean, it's just about SSG not even losing these engagements, but more importantly, not putting themselves in the positions to even win them. A lot of, oh my god, Kaysen not ready for the gunfight of BGL, but it doesn't matter. Swipes his mouse to the top right of his screen, takes away the mute's life. That's essentially the roam over by top floor of Master. You got Reapers creeping his way up blue stairs, even with the Kaysen so low on health. That's an entry kill SSG are going to take.
A hilarious way to open up the round, but I'm looking at the impact on our screen. We have 3 remaining, and that means if Kaysen takes 1 step too far in the wrong direction, look at the floorboards blown out from below him and meet his maker. There's really 2 traditional ways to play this site, Goose. It's either you go for a full-out roam or you bunker down, and it looks like Unity have gone for the former. You have one man who met his maker in gym, but yeah, didn't account for Reapers. He's sneaking in and around that map, looking for his prey. Abana jumps out the window and is unaware that there's a man upstairs. He'll get his ones. Not a surprise if he just backs off or looks to walk down red, but right now, they're hungry to take him off the board, but they're wasting critical time off the board.
Retro making the long walk from the other half of the map. It's Adept and scary, but
no.
my god, Reapers! Doing
gas
miracle work yet again! I'm not even sure how he necessarily got that kill.
Oh no.
Reapers a 4th quad. Going on for the ace. It's yet again. Retro in a 1v4 make that an ace for Reapers. He's been hot today and he's only going to get hotter.
He shot the gas pipe and found 2 kills. Oh,
That's what. Oh my god.
oh my god. I mean, yeah, Ariel. Poor Ariel. I don't even know what you address in this timeout. There's nothing to talk. Where do you even start? Don't walk in front of destructible ingredients without shooting them first. Clear the roam. Drone. Work the vert correctly. There's just so many things you can say, but SSG Academy are just crumbling. Goose, our predictions are going out the window. I'm starting to get doubtful of seeing a map 3 unless these guys can bring back the greatest momentum shift of all time.
Yeah, I think if they can get 2 rounds off of this timeout, perfect. I mean, I think that is really good, even if Unity is very confident, 50% win rate on attack on a map that tournament so far has been really good. But I think the main thing in that round that really stood out to me was just Reapers walking past that drone. Not only the fact that no one was watching it, but as soon as Reapers saw that individual drone, understanding there wasn't a Nomad or a Gridlock on the board, he was like, this flank is free. That is the only thing stopping me, and I just walked past it. On top of that, they didn't know BGL was there. If you talk about all the problems that SSG has been having throughout this best of 3 so far, but it's Unity understanding and pointing out those problems and saying, we're going to take advantage of that.
Loading new mag.
Reapers and BJL package duo to the lead. Get him in there now. What are we witnessing? It feels like an all-star game, but for a different player each and every map. Layer, it was BJL, and now it's Reapers. They've completed a full, perfect cycle here on Clubhouse, and now if they take 2 more rounds, they're looking at a flawless defensive half, but still. 2 rounds may not seem like a lot, but it is the starting point and the difference between getting flawless or trying to approach a comeback for SSG ACAD.
BGL, what can you do here? Nothing aside from a missed shot. You gonna double back up? I think he's going to double back up. No, he's going to reinforce it. Big Bans, though. He's an addition. He could potentially get a kill here, but Penguin's ready. Nasty little shot there from him. Vic Bans even says to himself that he has to pay respect to his own life. And that's yet another opening. I talked about how there was a problem in map 1. Even though they have not found a round, they have found, out of the 5 so far, 4 opening kills. Only 1 round where Unity has technically, we're counting that first round, been able to find an opening. But it's just been SSG Academy, their inability to convert off of it. Penguin trying his best to change that back.
Amaru's on the, Peach is on the Amaru. I just realized, and they're in the middle of the site. Yeah, I mean, they just said, yeah, nothing's been working for us, so we're going to hit that site. Whether you like it or not, losing overall control. You have 2 players having to fight out, make that just 1, and Kiru's left by his lonesome in logistics with absolutely nothing to do except for wait for his maker to swing with that pistol, and somehow he wins that gunfight, but the flawless round remains because he can't finish the man that was downed.
Flawless round right after timeout. I mean, what a perfect way. And they just said, I mean, screw it. Let's go into sight. Let's just hit it. And it's kind of a deliberate call there from SSG's coach to just say that this full clear hasn't been working. We've been giving them too much time to go for the flank. Just allow those roamers to have more and more time to have utility. But also at the same time, if Penguin not only doesn't get that opening kill, but then doubles up for a 2-piece in that opening, again, it could be a very different round. But the simple fact that they were able to converge off of that, hit the site, trying to catch Unity off guard really quickly, that's a good thing. And what better site than CC and Cash to do the exact same thing? Obviously, Unity, more than rather, are going to be expecting a very similar round, are going to be prepared, but I think this is something that SSG can lead into to try and get that 2-round buffer.
10 seconds remaining.
I'm so lost on what do we even say at this point. I mean, beautiful call by Ariel there to get the job done, because we saw that tack timeout on Layer where he tried to say, yeah, we're just going to push in, we're going to try to create chaos, and it crumbled. Nothing worked out in their favor, and Unity went down their pipeline of just destroying anything that stands in front of them. But this works a little bit better, and that could just be the evidence of hope turf working out better for a team. But still, this comeback is a long ways away. And 4-2 should be the perfect step in the right direction, but this round needs to be won. Otherwise, it's not looking too hot for SSG ACAD. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Hat yet again in another little lurk spot. He's going to find Adept, who's going to continue to have a poor game. An opening kill for Unity. More importantly, that's the cap to all those fire and smoke bolts completely off the board. Nobody around in that trade.
Oh my god. There's nothing to say. The flawless is narrowly avoided, but doesn't really matter when Unity's the one walking away with the round in hand. I mean, I understand you guys want to create chaos, but this is not the step in the right direction. Chaos doesn't mean just walk into their crosshairs and get picked off one by one. Come on, guys. 5-1 as they switch on to the attack. This has to be the greatest defensive campaign we've seen. Otherwise, we're going to sleep early, Goose.
Yeah, I mean, it is scary hours if you're an SSG fan. The only thing that you can fall back on is the defense, but how Unity has been playing, I mean, I think their attack is going to look very solid. And again, I speak about, it's not just one side. It's not one map that's the problem. It's just whether or not SSG isn't showing up or that Unity just has the perfect solution for this aggression from this young ACAD team. They aren't able to crack the code. They're not able to crack through the nut that is this Unity roster. I mean, and props to them. They had a fair share of their struggles, even though they were very successful in the group stage and even in the closed quals, going 3-0 in the closed qualifier, in fact. I mean, this is a team you want to keep your eye on going into CL, especially keep in mind that SSG Academy just can't play it. 3 of their players are underage. So, again, but I mean, this Unity roster has really surprised me. I think a lot of questions were talking about picking up Hat. Not necessarily saying that he's washed, but he's continuously been through and throughout rosters, having mixed results in those, having been put on many different positions, but I mean, so far, the position he's been put on, Unity, has set him up for success.
This is just a completely different matchup than what I've seen on that Fortress game within the group stages between these two. SSG Academy looked like different beasts when they have a little bit of rhythm in their step, but when they play away turf as their first map, it looks like they kind of just lose all of that and get destroyed. And that is not a quality you want to have in Tier 3. Because when you develop, when your team is eligible to compete at that Tier 2 level, even in that Challengers area as well, it becomes a little bit disastrous when you cannot compete against a team that's starting to get used to each other's, when you have different players coming in from various Tier 1, Tier 2 experiences and all being brought together by just PJL. So, SSG Academy have a tall order ahead of them, Gruesome. I don't like to say I'm doubtful, but this is going to be very hard to do.
Yeah, giving a lot of respect to this attack. A minute off the board, and the entirety of SSG Academy has retreated to the basement floor, giving complete control to the vertical, to Unity. Depth, you can see that he's making his way, and oh my god, Reapers are right outside the bomb site. Trying to hit it early, Reapers trying to see if he can see anything through the smoke. He's able to find one on his Scary, but Piru just tapped him on the head.
Retro giving his team that further lead. Vic tries to assist his teammates but cannot find Joy. BJL here to make something work out. Opens up all of blue and now funnels into sight to help out his teammate. It takes care of Retro.
No.
Adept gives his team that fighting chance. A 1v1 that he needs to win if they want a good chance at winning this. That flank drone is set to watch so he can isolate that gunfight if he gets a little too close. The gas babe is set too far. He missed it and he doesn't know that. A post-plant situation. He has his gun hot. Kira wins the one. And it's match point and series point for Unity.
Surely we don't see another 7-1 again.
No way.
I mean, I can't even say that Unity read that there was a roam, because there was no roam, and they still hit the site right outside of dirt, and they just simply were not ready. The entirety of that attack happened through dirt and blue. 2 small positions that theoretically the defense should have been set up to shut down, especially BGL in his position, but using his utility. Having that secondary or the primary shotgun, take a gunfight that not a lot of defenders would expect. And again, it just comes down to those like little micro changes. Again, just bringing a shotgun instead of an AR doesn't seem like a big change, but it almost was around window because you were able to play that close range against a lot of guns that SSG Academy that probably couldn't play it. And even with a team kill from Unity, they were able to still come out on top. And again, it's just Unity leaning into that aggression, using it for their own benefit. In SSG Academy, they just have no idea what is happening in this match.
I don't think any of us could have predicted this result, honestly. Anything can still happen. I've seen comebacks from 6-0. I've seen everything happen, but still there's just there's nothing that I'm seeing from SSG. I don't even know how to put it at this point. There's just no core, there's just no chemistry. Oh man, they can't put anything on paper. They're really struggling. The one round that they've gotten has been straight aggression. And it looks like that Unity is starting to learn this and just take advantage of them each and every single time. Going to match point just makes it a little bit more convincing that they're going to be the ones that go through to the final.
Reapers sliding onto that Blackbeard, that shield position. BGL on that Deimos. An operator that he knows so well. A lot of individual information he can get from those trackers. And again, it's just the ability for Unity. They don't need a drone in front of them. They can just send any four of these players. I mean, how Kiru is on Ash right now with a diffuser in his pocket. Like, these guys are trying to play any and every position, operator, whatever they need. They're just trying to put themselves in the best case scenario to win the gunfights, because they know that's exactly what SSG Academy is struggling with.
Trying to get the man off of that Raptors position. Reapers making damage after the initial gunfight in Garage, but a beautiful pinch on Scary. Somehow he clings on to life, but not for long, as Reapers takes him off that board. Now they've opened up that first part of this defense. The second is forcing them out of cash, which they've done successfully. Fadeaway, allowing Penguin to just play in construction, can allow him to take care of anybody waltzing up red, but is unknowingly aware of this player that sits in this position. Looks like it's a beautiful clear done by Unity, something that you mentioned in the last round, in a good amount of time. They are beautiful with time management as they've opened up all of that console.
Penguin's just going to get the hell out of dodge, clearing up construction for Reapers and Unity. And Reapers is just going to walk into sight, shoot Penguin in the back.
Come on, man.
What are we doing? We cannot let a kill like that just slip by, and it's a 3v5, a 5v3 rather for Unity.
They're just sleeping at the wheel because there's nothing to say. Adept loses his life. Jacuzzi Breach seems to be a killing hub for Unity. Kaysen, the king, needs to make something happen here. But say good riddance to them within XGS. 2 rounds, 1 and 2 maps has to be a record as Unity go on to the grand final.
Back-to-back 7-1s. And Unity showing shades of Brazil as they do their best Flexo W7M impression and eliminate the second SSG Academy, or the second SSG roster, today in C. Oh, I mean, that is tough. It is a tough day to be an SSG fan. So, you know, I love me some SSG, but what I've seen today, especially from the Academy roster, was not up to par. In total, 14-2 rounds for Unity. I mean, they have been lights out today, going into the grand final now as a very consistent favorite. Not favorite, but a very consistent team against more than likely Ballsack and Kill, unless Sesh can pull up a really big upset. Who knows? TK might be the king.
I don't even know what to say. I honestly, I could compose myself as somebody who believed in SSG Academy, but that first round was lost in a very convincing way. And it really showed us that Unity was the superior team. I don't know what happened for SSG Academy today. It could have just been an off day, an off Tuesday for them. Maybe they all had high school. I mean, they're all 17. Maybe they just had school.
True.
But to that level, you're the team that's been picked up by SSG Academy. You're expected to perform to a T when you have a coach backing you and you have certain strats. You couldn't perform up to that ability. There's things that you need to take back to the drawing board. Use this as a learning experience to really try to improve for the next tier 3 event until you all are able to play at the higher level. But still, lots needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this is a roster that obviously is going to take time. I am praying, Dark Zero, please don't pick up Kaysen off this roster. Let this roster grow, please, Dark Zero. I know you might need him, but let him grow. But in all seriousness, this is a roster. It's going to take time. A lot of them, especially Retro, is a lot younger IGL compared to a lot of these people. And if we're looking at Unity, man, I mean, they are not only upticking in the tier 2 scene, but they're making their way to CL. They're making sure that we know they could be a favorite, potentially make Pro League.
A big if, but, and maybe, but I think on the 22nd, it'll be the day that we figure it out. But still, we are not done for the day, ladies and gentlemen. The other side of the bracket semifinals will be live after this. You finished SSG ACAT versus Unity. We've been Sino and Goose, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good night.